All right, so we will get started here. So I'm not sure, so what I'm seeing right now is that first slide in my webcam because I'm on Screencastify. What are you guys seeing?
I'm seeing your slides, Sandy, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's all I need to know.
Looks like the first slide.
Okay, we're going to get going. So you guys all know the routine. Mike, put any questions you have in the comments. I'm Sandy Green. I'm an assistive technology facilitator here in the district, and I will be your host. And helping me today is, go ahead, Sherry.
And I'm Sherry Moriarty, the LRC director at Corin.
Great. So I'm going to kind of be leading it. Sherry, chime in whenever you want to. And if you have any, we'll have time at the end for sure for questions and follow up. And any immediate concerns, just put in the chat and Sherry will be monitoring that. And feel free to interrupt me, Sherry, if something comes up that I need to clarify right away. We'll make this informal. And I want you guys to get the most out of it. I know some of it's going to be review for some of you, but I'm just going to kind of go over all the features and then we can delve into specifics depending on what people need. How's that sound? So this is what we're going to go over today. I'm going to just review all the tools and features of ReadWrite. I'm going to demo it in docs, on websites, on PDFs, and I'm going to also show you how they've just did a recent upgrade on the integration with Google Classroom. And then one of the things that Sherry brought to my attention, I had it on the agenda, but she thinks this is something that people aren't as aware of. We do have something part of ReadWrite called SnapVerter where you can take a PDF that's not accessible and make it accessible. And I'll talk about that when we get to it. So let's go ahead and get into this. All right. It's not. Okay, so first of all, I'm not going to go over this, but just this presentation has links to all this. So the Chrome extension, it's a Chrome extension that you need to add to your Google Chrome account. And these are links to directions on how to do that. I will say, and I'm going to just show this quick, just so everyone's aware, when you go to the web store, we do pay for this extension for everybody in the district. It is free for educators, but we pay for it for every student. So you just need to make sure you go in the web store for this 4D303. IT has set these paid extensions up in here. So if you get it this way, you get the full version. There is a free version of it that doesn't have all the tools. So just a little something to remember. All right. So I closed my presentation. Not smart. Hold on. So too many tabs open because I'm trying to have everything open so I don't have to worry about waiting like this for things to open up. All right. So we're going to delve in. If people have issues with getting it on theirs, we can set up a time later or I can talk to you afterwards. But let's just go on in. So I'm going to start with, I kind of put them up, organize how I'm presenting them and what you would use them for. So we're going to start out with the reading tools and I'm going to demo those in a Google Doc. So here's a Google Doc I have. Once it's installed, it's an extension, so it'll show up in your extension bar. On Docs, it shows up as this little dangling piece. If it isn't there, just click on that and it'll show up. I can open it, camera, and I can close it just like that. So we're going to start with these, play, pause, and stop. So wherever I put my cursor, I hit play.
The Statue of Liberty, Liberty Enlightening the World, is a 200.
I can pause it. It'll hold my spot. And then just unpause
25-ton,
or I can stop it. Up here are your options. And this is where you can go in and you can change the voice, a dangerous thing to show kids because they will go crazy playing around with all the different voices. You can play with the speed, and I have it set where it just continuously reads, or you can have it where it does it by sentence. There's also a translator on it. The default is Spanish, but you can see there are these other languages. So if you have students in your building, they are adding languages all the time. So I'm going to leave it Spanish right now. Just another FYI, and I've talked to some of our world language teachers, but you can change the whole system to another language. So I can go in here and I can change the whole system to Spanish. So all the tools will be in Spanish. It would read Spanish websites or these other languages. So just an FYI. All right, we're going to get out of that. So that's the reading tools. Simple, just play. Then I'm going to look at our dictionary. We have plain dictionary, which is words, and then picture dictionary. So how that works is I just highlight, double click on a word, go to the dictionary, and it tells me what it is.
Noun. An organization of people or
It'll read it. I can also then have a picture dictionary. You can use these separately or together, where it will come up with some type of a picture to go with that word. The kind of cool thing with this, you can also take that picture out and put it in your doc right from there. So you can use those at the same time. You can also use, here's the translator. Remember, it's defaulted to Spanish.
Alianza.
So I opened them all up at the same time, or you can do them all separately. It doesn't matter. So if I just went in and just did the picture dictionary, you can do that too. All right. So those are most of our reading tools. There's one other really, I think, a cool tool that I used quite a bit when I had a caseload as a speech pathologist in the district. This is this vocabulary tool. And what this does is it makes a separate doc of vocabulary words. So you have to pick single words. I'm going to pick underpinnings. Not quite sure what that is. Memorialize. It doesn't matter what color. So I'm picking the word and I'm highlighting it with the read write highlighters. So as you see, I have, oh, that one didn't get that one. I'm going to use this one. So you see, I have 3 words highlighted. So now once I have them highlighted, I go up to my vocabulary tool. Keep your fingers crossed. This is always tricky when stuff's going on in these works. So it's actually opening up in my drive a vocabulary list. Now the cool thing about this is it's just a table in Google Drive. I can do anything I want with this. I can change this to something else. Use in a sentence. I can change the formatting. I can take the definitions I don't want in there. Memorialize, there wasn't a good symbol for, but you can then do whatever you want with this. So you could have students use this for unfamiliar vocabulary. I used it, I would take a text that kids were using and I would make worksheets and then put synonyms and antonyms in a column. So really anything you want to do with it. It's just going in your Google Drive as a vocabulary list untitled. So for organizational pieces, you'll want to rename it and then move it to where you want it so it doesn't get lost. So one other feature I want to show you in a doc. So now I've got these weird highlights. I want them out of there. So I just highlight the whole thing and I can clear my highlights. So that'll clean up my paper. So the other thing I want to show you is you can add a voice note. So a voice note is like a comment, but it's an auditory comment. So let's say this is a student's writing, and I want to comment about this first sentence. So I select it. I have 1 minute that I can put in a verbal comment. I really like how you introduced this passage. Keep up the good work. Stop it, insert it. It just takes a minute. And there it is. And I click on it. I really like how you introduced this passage. Keep up the good work. So just another way of giving students feedback rather than in writing. You can do it auditorily, especially for our younger kids who maybe aren't reading at that level. You could put some more information there. We've also used this for students who have poor articulation, difficult speech to understand. And that's one of the limitations with voice typing is you've got to speak semi-clearly for it to pick up your voice. But we can have them make little voice notes, like draw a picture and then make a voice note so their authentic information is on that document. Just another idea of how I've seen it used. All right, so now I'm going to go on and show you, let me get out of that. I'm going to show you what you can do on PDFs. So this is a PDF. I already had it open. So when I opened it up out of my Google Drive, this is how it comes. So then I want to go open with, and I can say read and write for Google Chrome. If you have the extension installed on your Chrome account, this will come up as an option. Now, I already have it installed, so it's going to automatically open it up. If you don't have the PDF part of it installed, it'll prompt you to install it and link it to your account. So that's already done on mine, so that's the next step. But you can see that the tools look very, very similar to what we just saw on the docs. We have our click to speak is you just tap there to speak rather than a whole passage. You have your dictionary, you have your translator, we have our highlights. We can still do that vocabulary. This is the thing, though, I think is the most useful, especially now that we're remote learning and we're doing so much on computers. This is a typewriter key. So what this does, it allows me to fill in a worksheet. So I can go in here and on my PDF, I can write. So I can just type like normal, or I have my writing tools that are part of all the formats on docs also. So we have word prediction. It's just what it sounds like. It starts predicting, and I can hover over.
Tom, today.
And it'll start predicting.
Wednesday.
And a student can go down
Wednesday.
and then pick the words.
At.
All right, I'm going to turn that off. You do that by just clicking on it. So here again, you can go in and change under your options. So I'm going to go up under options. All right, yeah, I think you have to do it back on docs. You can go up and you can change how many words are presented in that in those choices. So it defaults to 10. You can do it from 3 to 10. You can change the font size of those, how many of the list. The other cool thing that you can use in it is talk and type, which is the Google voice typing. So when I turn this on, it lets a student use their voice typing on a PDF. Okay, so there again, I just turn it on. When it's underlined, it's on, and then click it to turn it off. You can also go in here and you can change your text size. I can move this box around. And then once I'm happy with it, I just hit this add, and now it's on this PDF. Now, the key with this is you have to have an accessible PDF. So what that means is a PDF is really just a picture of text, right? So you need to make sure it's OCR'd, which stands for optical character recognition. A lot of times I'm finding that the ones, like if I'm finding things on the internet, or a lot of them are already that way, but they're not always. So I have an example of what happens when it's not. So if I open, let me see, if I go here, and I have this one here that I actually made sure that when I scanned it, I didn't have OCR on. Now, when I open that, it'll look the same way. And I'll open with read write. And it looks like, so everything comes up, but it says we can't find text on this document. It may not have been scanned using OCR, and then it'll take you to SnapVerter. I'm going to come back to that, and we're going to talk to SnapVerter afterwards, but that's just a big piece of the PDF. I want to show you quickly, there's just a couple things that you can do on websites that you can't do on the other platforms. So again, there it is. I open up on a website. It allows you to have some freedom of moving. Just grab that, and you can move it. All the same tools, except it has the simplify tool. What this does is first time you'll do it, it'll just take the clutter off your page. So it took all those pictures and just gave you the text. All right, if you keep doing it, it will take text away. Now, caution, you're not really 100% sure what of the content. It's not smart enough to know that, the key essential content is there, but it will give less content for students who would be overwhelmed by this. I really like it for the taking that clutter off, because sometimes, when you've got videos and ads and stuff coming up, it can be overwhelming. So I'm going to go back to the original one. The other thing, because it does open up that simplified in another tab. The other thing that you can do is you can make a voice note, an audio maker. So what the audio maker does, I could take this passage, however much I want, and I could make that an audio file. I never used this. What you could do is then, here you have an MP3 that would just be, they could just listen to it. So they could put it on their phone or something without the text. So if there's ever a need that you would need to just make an audio file, that's how you would do that. All right. That's really everything on the toolbar. Oh, one other thing I'll show you. There is a masker. So this, you can go in and it just, shows you where you're at. And again, you can go into settings and you can change the background color and the masking color. So lots of options with that. I'm going to go back to my Google Doc because I just want to show you back in some of those options. Come on, there it is. All right, so I'm going to go back into those options. So I just want to show you when you go in here. So that prediction, that's what I was talking about. You can go have 3 to 10 words. You can make the words bigger for students. That screen masking, this is where you can change the background color and the highlight color, how big it is. That's been really helpful for some students. You can also go in, if you maybe some of these features are distracting for students, you can turn some of them off. And there's also, I didn't put it in this presentation, but any of you that want, there is a site that you can go in, and as a teacher, if you have kids set up in classroom, you can control what tools they have at what time. Please let me know. I can set up another time to go over with that, or just share those resources with you on how to do that. Kind of nice if your students are taking a test and there's certain things you don't want on, but you can customize an individual students through their account by just turning some of these off. Like some of these highlight tools, I need to go back and show you those. I apologize, I've skipped that. Might just be too much for a student right now. One other thing I want to show you on here, they did add, this is a more recent addition, they added a check it, which is a grammar and spelling check, like a spell check. So you can see it underlines in purple what needs to be corrected. So that's a nice feature. All right, I want to show you these research tools, or the highlights and gather highlights. So this would be, you could use it on any of the 3 platforms, on a doc, on a PDF, or a website. Works the same way everywhere. Let's say I want you to read this article about Statue of Liberty and pick out 3 facts, right? So I'm just randomly going to highlight. I'm not going to take the time. You can highlight them in different colors to mean different things. Like you could have, topic, supporting, details, different colors. I'm just going to do random right now. And then when I gather my highlights, you can collect all the colors or just specific colors. Again, it's going to open up another doc in my drive with what I highlighted, and then it's a link to that. And who created it. So not as important in a Google Doc, but if you do that on a website, it's a website. So it'll do the same thing, but it will. Let's show you quick. The only drawback to this is every time you do it, it's going to open up another Google Doc. There's no way of like saying, oh, put it in this Google Doc, because that would be really cool. So it gives you the link. So for taking notes, you have a link to exactly where you got that from. So I could copy and paste and put that back in with this, but that's a really, really nice research tool to use. So that's all, that's the toolbar. I'm going to now go back and show you how this PDF reader works. I'm going to close out. If you have any questions, now I'm going to go, my next thing, two things I'm going to go over is that whole PDF thing and then how it integrates with Google Classroom. Sherry, any questions?
There were two questions. Sandy, Tanya, and Stephanie answered them, but just so you know what the questions are.
Okay.
The first question was, do students already have this tool or do they need to download it? So they may already have it, but if they don't, then they have to. Sandy showed you at the beginning how to go in and download it out of the web store.
And if you yeah, go ahead, sorry.
One other thing, sometimes the students have to re-enable it, which might seem like a no-brainer at middle school or high school, but for elementary students, when all of a sudden they can't use their read and write, the first thing you have to do is see if it needs to be re-enabled. So you might have to guide elementary students through that a little bit.
If you go to this first slide, those I have step-by-step directions on how to do that. It's pretty intuitive, but just so you know. And sometimes what happens is Texthelp, the company that makes it, they're always doing updates. They're a very responsive company. So if you think, God, I wish it did this, let me know. I can let them know, and they're really responsive to the customer's needs. Sometimes, like if you go up here, I don't know if the menu or the settings of your Chrome account, sometimes there's like a little exclamation mark in there. Sometimes that will say like, oh, there's been an update and you need to, redo or reinstall it. So yeah, those are good points to make. But yeah, they're not.
That's what throws the elementary students sometimes, the littles, the third graders and that. Right. There was one other question. Can students hear the voice notes if they don't have the extension?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Well, Tanya answered and said it will open as a link and they can hear it then.
Okay.
And then Stephanie Korn also said, yes, the link switches to a play button when hovering over it and they can play it. And
good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. I do know on that same, was that it? I'm sorry, Sherry.
Yes, that's it.
I do know on that same vein that with this PDF reader, if I annotate a PDF with read write and then I share it with you, you will not see my annotations unless you open it with read write also. So it's like an overlay. So you do have, both parties do have to have that. The workaround, so like if I'm annotating on a PDF that I want to send out to other teachers or parents, I print as a PDF, how you can print as a PDF and then save it on your drive or on your desktop and then send it, then it's on there. But if you just share it in its raw form without doing that, you have to have the PDF reader on your computer to read your students. So I'm just going to show you here. So if you go, so this one isn't OCR. So if it is OCR and you open it with read write and you've already installed the PDF reader, it will just open up like this one did, where it'll just pop open and my tools will be there. Okay. The nice thing is if it isn't optical character recognized, it will come up this way and it'll alert you right here to convert now with SnapReader. So if I just click on that, it's put it in my SnapVerter file. So now we're going to go over how to get SnapVerter. And I think this might be some new learning for some of you, according to Sherry. So I put down here. So when this is SnapVerter, and if you go to snapvertertexthelp.com, which I already have, I've already installed it. So this is my view of what's going on with my documents. What you guys will do, once you go to that snapverter.texthelp.com, you will be prompted to install it, okay? And when you install it, it will put in your Google Drive. No judgment on my crazy Google Drive here. I try. Should I have this loaded? So it will actually put a set of folders in your Google Drive, SnapVerter. So I open that up, and it puts, so I could manually drop a PDF here. If you had a whole bunch of PDFs, like a whole folder of older PDFs you already have, you could drop them here. It would convert, and then it would tell you when you finish. The easiest way to get to it is right here. So now I can see that today, on May 6th, I just put this one in here. So now I can open it up. It's that same document. I've put it through SnapVerter. And now I have access to all my tools. And I can have it read, I can type on it. Oh, the other thing I didn't show you is this push pin. It's instead of typing on it, it just opens up a box. I can type a note. And then it doesn't show up, but a student could just see, kind of like that comment, right? You can comment now on a PDF. So the student would see this little push pin and know, oh, my teacher might have said something here, and open that up. Excuse me. Freehand drawing, shape drawing, so you can fill in things with that. So that's kind of how that SnapVerter works. So those directions are on that slide. Oh, screenshot reader is another interesting one. Excuse me. It will let you, if you're in like a website or something, it will like read around a picture somewhere where the text reader may not let you read. So it would be more on a website, not here. Click to speak. So there's two ways you can have a PDF read. You can just click to speak, or you can use your text readers. Both, my typer, my push pin, gotta get rid of that. So if I just click to speak.
Street.
Yeah, it's just gonna
Charles Community Unit School District number 303.
Okay. And then, these
Charles Community
very
Unit School
similar, but
District
some
number
places they work
303
better than
request
others.
for.
All right. So that is PDF and SnapVerter. Any questions on that before I go on to Classroom? Nope.
No questions. Sorry,
All right.
Sandy.
All right.
I couldn't get my microphone.
That's okay. I was like, all right. So let me go to, I have a classroom, a demo classroom that I've been playing around with. And I'm going to show you, I know in the past, it's been kind of wonky how PDFs have worked in Classroom, and Text Help has made some nice improvements with how this works. So the first thing, once you go through that process and you've opened up your first PDF and you install that PDF reader, it is actually a separate extension. So I'm going to click on the extension up here, and this is some of the things I can do with it. So I'm going to go to Options, and I want to make sure that I enable Classroom integration. Makes it work really, really, really well with Classroom. So if I enable the Classroom integration, your students will have to do that too. So once I do that and I go back to my Classroom, I can go to classwork, I can create an assignment. I can demo, I'll just call it, answer questions. Then I go and I add, I have it in my Google Drive. I can add that PDF. And I have, of course, I've opened all these other things. So I have one that was actually my daughter's from one of her classes that I'm going to use. So here I've assigned it to my classroom. You have your choices like always in Google Classroom. I can just have them view it. Then they're not going to be able to do with anything with it. Of course, if I edit the file, everyone's going to make the changes. So that now I can have them make a copy for each student. All right. So then I assign. All right, so this is the thing. So now I'm going to show you, and I actually made a video of this so you can actually see it from a student's perspective. I'm going to play this, and this is how it would look from the student view. So this is me hacking into my daughter's account. Here we go.
All right, here's the student's perspective of that assignment. First thing you'll want to do is make sure that they have the PDF reader installed. That was another set of directions that you will have available to you. But once it's installed, it comes up here on your extensions. Just open it up, click on the extension, it'll take you to the website. And you want to scroll down here to additional options. You just want to make sure that classroom integration is turned on. So enable classroom integration.
That is not a default setting. They will have to go in and do that. I'd already done it on hers.
So now I go back here to my classroom and I go to that assignment. The student would just open it up, and then go over here to grab the PDF that was shared just with her. We made a copy for each student. And then it should open up automatically with your PDF tools. So what this will allow them to do is they can have all their tools they're used to in rewrite. It can be read to them. They have their
Sandy.
tools. Yeah. And I know one
Are we supposed to be listening to this video?
Can you not hear it?
No.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. So I will narrate it. I thought it should be, you should be able to hear it. I apologize. So as you hear, I'll stop it.
Question, Sandy.
Okay. Great.
For joining us, and I did post the survey again.
Great. And please, if there's any specific questions or issues you have, don't hesitate to email me. I'm more than happy to meet with you or set up another time.